Hello, and welcome to a slightly revised version of NASA Spaceflight Live. I was out at the California Science Center this week watching Endeavour get stacked. EJ, who's here with us, did I just make my thing do a? Oh God, don't do that, Apple. EJ was out shooting and checking out NG-20 this week, and of course we have Sawyer on this week, and Sawyer was being Sawyer and flexing on all of us as he always does, and just being awesome. But a lot to go over. Let's get into it.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Climbing down to FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange! 145!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage!
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
All right, so it's NASA Spaceflight Live, but on a Friday. We should probably address the elephant in the room, but joining me, as usual, we have our ever-competent cast of cohorts, starting off with EJ. EJ, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Jack. How are you?
Good. You don't have any lame visual effects that pop up when you do a double thumbs up? I mean, I get
No.
fireworks.
No, I don't. I mean, that's cool, but I don't do that.
Is it cool? I don't think it's. I've got to figure out how to turn that off. Well, thank you for joining us on this inaugural revamp of NSF Live. And also joining us is Sawyer. Sawyer, how you doing, buddy?
Good. First off, please don't turn those off. They're fantastic. The random thumbs up and fireworks, I am all about it. And yeah, I may not have random effects, but I has cat.
Nice.
It's blocked by the by my name right now, but I promise you, I has cat.
We'll have to take you on
There you go.
confidence.
It's easier.
Yep. I see cat ear. Cat confirmed. Excellent. So I guess, yeah, elephant in the room, we should probably just address it right off the bat. NSF Live is normally on Sunday. Now it's on Friday. And what's going on here? But the long and short of it is, much like Starship, we're always doing some testing and experimenting. So we figured we would try a new time slot for NSF in a slightly tweaked format. If you guys have questions about whatever we're talking about, you know the whole deal. Type in chat at NASASpaceflight. We'll see your questions pop up. We'll interact with you all there in chat. But, you know, we figured we have This Week in Spaceflight, which you should all be watching every Friday as we publish it. And This Week in Spaceflight is sort of a very blow-by-blow, good update on everything that's happened in the week in spaceflight. That's why it's called This Week in Spaceflight. So rather than make NSF Live a little bit more redundant, we're just going to have more of a conversation about it and less of a, and this week the thing happened. Like, you know, we'll talk about the stuff that happened. We'll talk about how we felt about it, all that good stuff. So yeah, just a little bit of a tweak to the format. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Classic YouTube. Let us know what you think in the comments. But for real, we're trying this out and we can see how it goes. So yeah, This Week in Spaceflight is awesome. You should definitely watch it. If you want just the facts in terms of what all happened. Alicia and the team, Alex and them, do a great job with it. So just a quick plug for This Week in Spaceflight. But yeah, let's just jump right into it with the first thing that I can think of this week, which was SpaceX launched Cygnus. And you were both there, right?
We were.
Oh yeah.
Did you get to be in proximity with each other, or you just both happened to be at the Cape for the launch?
I was down in Jetty Park. Sawyer, where were you? We were not near each other.
I was about 6 inches to the right of where this video was taken. Sorry, this video. Backwards.
You said there was flexing jacks, so I mean, here we go.
Yeah, thank you.
We're like
I didn't
11
even have
minutes
to say
in.
it. I didn't even have to say it.
All right.
It's all right. It was, well, if I really wanted to flex, I could say that our camera for this was lucky enough to be 2.1 miles away, I believe, from the actual launch site itself, and 3.5 from the landing zone. So I could have said that, but I didn't.
But you just did. You just did. But yeah, this was an awesome launch, and I mean, EJ, you said you were at Jetty Park.
Yep, in Jetty Park. It's on the south side of Cape Canaveral Space Force Station at Port Canaveral.
Nice. How was it? What was the vibe like?
There was a lot of people there. I don't know, probably like 200-300 people out on the jetty, something like that. There was clear skies, so you saw that rocket all the way up to engine cutoff, and I lost it after the boost back burn. And I'm not talking like with any optics or anything, no phone, no camera, no nothing. Like I'm talking about just being able to see it. You could see it through the boost back, and then I lost it for a second, and then when it started doing the entry burn, yeah, saw it all the way down to the surface. It was really, really cool. I mean, the picture, yeah, that's pretty much it. You had a clear track of that thing all the way up, which is really, really cool. Really nice to see a launch like that.
Heck yeah, that sounds awesome.
One thing that I noticed, I don't know if you saw this too, EJ.
Yeah.
For the landing part, I mean, used to seeing these landings, we kind of know they're pretty common at this point, but it's not that often that we get them coming in from the northeast again, since that's the trajectory towards the ISS.
Yep.
Is it just me, or did it look like right before the landing burn that it was flying almost completely sideways, like at 90 degrees, just a little bit inclined?
It definitely took a turn. After the entry burn, those grid fins really pulled that thing a good distance away. I also kind of noticed, and once again, this is just could have been the angle that I was looking at, that trajectory seems to be a little bit, it seemed to be a little bit lofted. It was very steep. Like, I don't know if you could tell from the cameras, but just, I've watched descents before in real life. This one looked to be a really steep ascent. That's probably because Cygnus is not very high mass, you know what I mean? But I mean, we could get into technicalities, but yeah, it definitely was steep, and it definitely took a huge turn going back into the landing site. It was almost, I'm not saying like it was flying around, but it definitely was pretty sideways when it came in after that entry burn.
Yeah, because I'm looking around, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, where's the booster? No, that can't be it. It's going sideways. It's like, no, wait, that's the booster. It was really cool.
More cross range, more better? Question mark. We might
it just goes to show. It just goes to show that it can hit the northeastern trajectory at like 56 degrees inclined, and the southern polar corridor can hit as well.
You just had to
look
do
at
it. Yeah, beautiful views on this one from the SpaceX tracking cams. Like absolutely outstanding. And of course, it helps that it wasn't a middle of the night Starlink, right? Like we actually got a nice, clear day launch of Falcon.
Get to see booster butt. Yep.
Right. So it was a stubby nozzle. It was carrying cargo to the ISS. We do have a few questions here I can hit as we discuss Cygnus, but yeah, Sawyer, any thoughts on payload or the mission otherwise before I start jumping into viewer questions?
I mean, it's always cool that there's all the different science on board, and Cygnus is so unique that it can basically launch on almost every launch vehicle that's capable of going to the space station. It's launched before on Atlas V twice. It's launched on Antares 100 and 200, and will go to the 300 series once they start building the engines in the first stage with Firefly, and now on Falcon 9, which has now sent 2 resupply vehicles to the ISS. It's just, that part blows my mind. And also the fact that they're talking about being able to, test out materials to help grow to grow retinas in space to help with vision. You've got the Genes in Space program. You've got things that are looking at diseases back here on Earth, like Alzheimer's and things like that, where they're studying materials that if they mix just right in zero gravity, maybe they could be manufactured there and help us back here on Earth. That stuff just blows my mind, and I love these ISS resupply missions, even though they're kind of, boring to some people. The science is like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the exact opposite of boring, and it's the exact kind of fodder that you would want for, people are like, why are we spending time going to space? It's a waste of time and money, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, do you understand all of the different things that we're able to do on Earth for humans, like regular humans, because of the space program and because of the things that we're able to learn? But yeah, EJ, have you seen Cygnus launch on all 3 vehicles it's launched on? Is that correct?
Yep. I've seen NG-11, OA-5, and now NG-20. Seen it launch from
Flex.
3 different. Yeah. Hey, somebody had to combat what you were doing a little bit earlier. Okay. I mean, I don't know if it would technically count as 3 launch vehicles from 3 space centers, but I mean, Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, Kennedy Space Center, Wallops Island. But see, that Atlas launch was at Slick 41. Slick 41 is technically on Kennedy Space Center property, but I don't think people classify that as a Kennedy Space Center launch site, right? So I don't know. Does it count?
That's considered Space Force, yeah.
Does it count? Okay. 3 launch vehicles from two different space centers, which is pretty cool.
If you wanted to go with 3, I would give it to you. But do you have
right.
What is your favorite Cygnus launch that you've seen?
I liked NG-20. So the booster came back. I got to see it again.
Yeah, not much better out there, at least right now, than a good old fashioned RTLS.
But swag wise, was it as good?
That's a really good question. How do you feel about Cygnus swag, EJ?
Oh, I mean, it's quite good. It's pretty good. I mean, I don't hate it. It's pretty good. I mean, yeah, I don't mind it.
I don't know that I've seen better swag. So yeah, I would say that is in fact pretty good. It's almost like a weird Mickey Mouse hat. Like Mickey's ears are melting off of his head.
If I walked the street with this, I'd get a lot of weird looks. Let me put it to you like that.
That's fair. Cool. Let's do a couple questions. How about I don't know. You might have to wear that for the rest of the show. I'm absolutely not putting that on you, but I'm just glad you had it. I'm glad you had it.
Okay, that's fine.
Can't See Me is asking, was Cygnus a bullseye landing? Did they manage to hit the center of the landing zone?
I think it was pretty close. I mean, these RTLS missions tend to be a little accurate. They tend to be a little more accurate, right, than like coming back in from. I mean, because Cygnus is low mass, right? It looked dead on center, but I haven't actually seen the footage, but it looked right from like the quick 2-second like replay that I saw from like clip from like SpaceX's X account, you know.
Kevin, can we see the replay?
Yeah, I guess we'll judge
Kevin
for
Michael
ourselves.
Reed, the producer.
Coming in hot. It still is crazy to me how late the legs appear to deploy. I mean, clearly they're not deploying actually late. They're deploying at the right time, but it always just feels last minute to me. That looks like a bullseye. I would call that a bullseye.
That looks really
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's what I was thinking. It looks pretty dead center.
All right, you heard it here.
Yeah.
We are calling it a. What's with the Sawyer? Do you have a train that's about to run into your house? Somebody has a train in their near vicinity.
Thank you, Brightline.
Hey, all right. High speed rail. Yeah.
It takes me back to the days of having Chris G on, because Chris G always had like the 3:00 fruit train from Tropicana or whatever it was. Takes me back. Telstar 86. Oh, go ahead.
No, Jack, I was going to say, you were talking about the landing legs look like they deploy at the last second. It's because if they deployed them any earlier, they'd have to overcome aerodynamic load. The idea is that, the landing legs have a little actuator rod that pushes them out, right? And then they go, and then gravity takes over the rest. You don't want those things deploying and having them work like a speed brake and then having aerodynamic forces push them back up, right? So they have to use gravity. They have to use gravity so they can fall into the position, and then the locking collets will go in and lock the pistons into place. You can only really do that when the vehicle's going slow enough to where aerodynamic forces won't push the legs back up in. You don't want that. That's also kind of the reason why if a booster is coming back from a like a crazy trajectory and it kind of comes in a little bit sideways at the last second, why if you look, one leg kind of deploys faster than the other because of airspeed on either side of the booster as it's coming in.
Hey, EJ, along those lines, isn't there another vehicle that, say, dropped its landing necessity, such like gear, at 400 feet or so above the runway?
Yeah. Well, it was the big one that could carry a satellite into space in a payload bay. What was that called, Sawyer? Yeah, I recall that one.
Buran? You're thinking Buran, isn't it? It's Buran.
Yes, that's...
Buran never moved any payload into space. I'm just saying.
I had to do the rare Jack advocating for Buran thing.
But yes, Space Shuttle. I think they deployed the gear like 400 feet above the runway, and keeping in mind that they are traveling very fast and there is no chance of a go-around, it's a little nerve-wracking. So I guess SpaceX taking after the shuttle theory of, yeah, we want the less drag and also to scare the crud out of the people watching.
Yep. And then the shuttle's gear, too. It only deploys by gravity. It's basically held in there, and when the door opens, that's when they fall out. The way to actuate that whole thing is just to let the latch go on the door and it falls open. And then the door falling open actuates a lever that opens up the landing gear, and the landing gear falls too.
Which made it really interesting having to repack the gear after landing too. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, at the beginning of the shuttle program, before they had the shuttle transport vehicle, they'd roll the thing into the VAB, pick it up in the VAB, and fold the gear up in there. After that, after they had the transport vehicle, they did it in the orbiter processing facilities.
Oh, shuttle. I miss it. But also, I'm glad we're getting into a new era and we have Starship, which is, as Chris B will always say, I have to say this when we talk about Starship and or shuttle, it's really like kind of Shuttle 2.0 in a lot of ways. Here's one from Telstar86, and then we will move on. Speaking of shuttle, Telstar is asking, do the cargo craft ever deliver water? Or does the ISS rely on recycled water? I mean, the ISS does rely on recycled water, but do they get, like, top-ups every now and then? Get a fresh couple tons of good old H2O?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They will get water deliveries for some of these. And what's interesting is that the water isn't necessarily all potable. You've got some that's used for experiments. A lot of it is also used actually to shield for any potential radiation. And then the fact that, yes, you do have the wastewater replacement. So basically, it filters out astronauts' urine and sweat and turns it into drinkable water, which one of the experiments that was going up on this mission was actually going to be taking a look at the results of it with some different type of, I believe it was spectroscopy or some kind of study up close to see if there was any new or undiscovered bacteria or viruses or things that create as a result of the recycling process.
Nice. Also for you, Sawyer,
but 98% of the water. But yeah, it's a 98% reusable, I believe, for the water, though.
Tesla Max is asking what your cat's name is, Sawyer. You already said it, but they probably just didn't hear you.
That's Jake. He's laying flat across my lap at the moment, so I can't quite pan the camera down to show it, but he's being very, very adorable.
Tilt,
my camera doesn't tilt that. It doesn't tilt that way.
You can't pan down. And
Did
I guess
get you
Chris W.
angry?
Yes, you've thoroughly. We might have to
Good.
go into
Then my joke didn't pan.
Chris W is asking how we feel about the stubby nozzle. EJ, I don't know if we had you weigh in on one of our streams before. I'm sure you have on your own Twitch, which everybody watching here should be subbed to EJ's Twitch. But EJ, stubby nozzle, yay, nay?
From an engineering standpoint, great. Really, really good idea. From an aesthetic standpoint, thanks, I hate it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really good classification. Sawyer, just in case our viewers have forgotten where you stand, would you like to put a stake in the ground?
Yes. Stubby bad.
All right. Let's thank some people and then move on to the next topic. RC Horseman, thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Jeff Rowe gifting 1. Jim Cavett gifting 1. And Air Crafter, I wonder if they do air-related crafts, gifting 5 Red Team memberships. RC Horseman gifting 5 more. Apocalypse Cow gifting 10. Holy cow, y'all. Thank you so much. Musical Wolves with a super chat asking about bacon being used to repair Ingenuity. Come on now. We're going to talk about Ingenuity. Just give us, 20, 30 minutes. We'll get there.
I like that idea. We should do that.
Ground umbilical carrier plate, which, again, every time I read, just sends shivers down my spine. They say, yeah, Gup.
Mr. Gup?
They say smash that like button. Thank you for that. Apocalypse Cow gifting 5 more memberships, and I'd rather be flying an X-Wing. Thank you for the super chat. They say, we'll do that. We'll save that one because it's a Starship question. We'll save that one for Starship. So, Shuttle. Talking all about Shuttle this week. We had the glorious stacking of Endeavour, the final time it will take flight, if you want to call it that. And I had the good fortune of being at the Science Center for that. So it was really cool to see the old bird lifted up and dropped into place. I mean, if you want my in-depth thoughts and feelings about it, just go watch the stream, because we were hanging out with Garrett Raceman and just chit-chatting and standing in awe of this thing. So absolutely thank you to the Science Center for having us on hand. But EJ, you look like you had something to say there, and we started talking about Shuttle. What's on your mind, good buddy?
No, I was just looking at the lift. No, it's really cool to see it. They're using I'm a little bit of a sucker for the mechanical engineering behind how rockets go together, if you guys don't know me. So seeing that weird bracket that they use where they pick the shuttle up, right? And then one crane lifts more than the other crane, and the bracket turns to a vertical position, and they let the other one go, and then you have it, and then they move it into position. That's super, super cool. Kind of a hoisting nerd too, if anybody likes cranes out there. It's really, really interesting stuff.
And can we get a shirt, like a shirt in the merch store that just says hoisting nerd or something like that? I feel like there's something about that phraseology. There's something there.
Hey, Airjack.
But
thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I don't. I'm not sure how to briefly encapsulate my feelings on this topic. I'm certainly glad that that the California Science Center is going to have a fully stacked shuttle and be the only place where you. Well, I wish there was more places you could see that, but at least there will be one, and that's the Science Center. Did either of you get to see Endeavour launch ever? We'll go with you first, EJ.
I think I've seen Discovery and Atlantis launch. I saw STS-116 and STS-117. I don't remember. I think Discovery was one and Atlantis was the second one. If I'm remembering right, that's off the top of my head. But no, I don't think so. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure you have, though, right?
Alex in the back channel predicting a flex incoming, and he's right. Yep. The first launch of anything I've ever seen in my life was STS-130, which was Space Shuttle Endeavour. That was the one that brought the cupola up to the space station. And it just so happened, and this was talk about out of the blue here. This is going to sound off topic, but it's still on topic. So I was at a restaurant meeting people from the internet, which I advise you don't do now. But anyway, there was a party going on in the other room for one of the astronauts' family members, put on by this site, I don't know, NASASpaceflight. I don't know what that is. But yeah, it was an NSF party basically in the next room. And I ended up meeting one of the astronauts' mothers at that flight, Terry Wirtz's mom. And his mom and I are still friends, and him and I are still friends as a result. So, yeah, that was also, I got to do that because of Make-A-Wish, and it sparked my entire love of spaceflight and got me hooked on going to all these launches. Flex done.
Nice. No, I mean, Sawyer, I think we might have to have a new segment on the show that's just Sawyer flexes, or like a flex off. I don't know. Well, again, we're trying new things. Who knows?
Ding ding.
Right. But yeah, I mean, space shuttle. How do we feel about this vehicle now, this many years down the line, sort of with the clarity of time to help
S
us
tier.
organize our S tier.
Oh yeah.
See, okay, are we doing a tier list? Because let's go. Well,
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. S tier.
You woke
Really?
Jake
Oh,
up
yeah.
with that.
S tier.
Sorry.
Sawyer, what tier would you put shuttle in?
If you take away the bias, I go A tier.
I see. I cannot abide by putting shuttle in the S tier, even though it starts with the letter S. Haha. It's just it had too many issues. It never achieved a flight rate that it was supposed to achieve. It never brought the cost of launch down to the point that it was supposed to. And it never launched crew from Vandenberg, which was a huge reason for having all the cross range and all of that. It never did what was the name of the reference mission? But I'll give you a moment. I'm just like, how do you justify putting that in S tier? I don't. Explain yourself, sir.
Well, okay. I can tend to say that the shuttle is an amazing design. I think
Agreed.
that people operating it never gave it the chance that it needed. Okay. You said, none of the equipment ever worked right, but think about all the things on the shuttle that actually did work and never had a problem, like the landing gear, for instance, right?
For sure.
See what I'm talking about? There's a 1,000 bajillion different systems, yes, technical term, on the shuttle that all worked correctly every time. You know what I mean? Like there's never a problem with the lights inside the vehicle. Or there's never a problem with the payload bay lights, or like the slide wires inside of the payload bay, or the airlock. I mean, maybe there's a couple of weird things here and there with the airlock once or twice, but I can tend to say it's a good design. And what would have made it work is if you flew it more. If they flown it more, you would have been more likely to catch something because you're putting the thing together all the time, right? If you have an aggressive schedule and you launch a lot, you're good. There's more opportunity for iteration. There's more opportunity to fix the things that eventually doom the program.
Yeah, I think low flight rate is absolutely one of the things I would mark up as a negative. Like, I'm not saying it was like a super buggy vehicle or things didn't work. I just mean it was supposed to launch 12 to 24 times a year and basically never approached that number. It was never given the leash to run because it had to be a NASA project and everything had to be perfect. And then, through various reasons, we became further and further risk averse. I don't get me wrong. I think Shuttle's a beautiful vehicle, probably the most beautiful rocket ever built. I think it's an amazing achievement in terms of engineering, but I don't know. I would struggle putting it in S tier for a variety of reasons. This might be a derail we have to save to come back to. Because I feel like we could probably argue this for a whole hour just on its own. But
Dude, one of
seriously,
the things. What's up?
Go ahead.
Don't forget, there was a whole mission that had to be reflown because they had trouble opening the airlock door. So there are still issues.
Once or twice here and there. But okay, all right. Let me at least say this.
I got
it.
Anyone can look at that space shuttle. Look at a space shuttle and say that's a spaceship. That flies into space. All right, so it's got an aesthetic thing going for it. All right, that I just don't think you're going to get with any other spacecraft. Maybe Buran, for instance, right? Like maybe, but you look at a pod, you kind of have to explain to people what that does. It looks like a gumdrop. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. But I think the shuttle is kind of iconic in the regard that anyone can look at that thing and be like, "Yep, that flies into space. That's a spaceship. That's what a spaceship looks like."
Yeah, I mean purely from
Let
an
me give my
aesthetic
very
standpoint,
quick.
I would agree. Go ahead, Sawyer.
No, I want to give my very quick reason for my A tier. I mean, the shuttle did things that no other vehicle ever could in terms of what it was able to bring into space at once. It could carry massive payloads. It could do communication satellites, NRO satellites. It built the TDRS network. It built the International Space Station. It could just carry a science lab or science hab inside of it. It did all of those. And yeah, I mean, it served a purpose very much. At the same time, though, like you were kind of hinting at, it is the most complex machine ever built, and it showed it, both in terms of occasional flight issues, and then, of course, the whole fact that it needed months and months to refly when they were planning on flying multiple flights per month. So
Right.
that's
like
my
my
A tier
number, like,
reasoning.
Biggest ding would be that. That's the whole loss of crew multiple times, no abort modes during SRB, flight. Like there's just a lot. Don't get me wrong, EJ. I love the look of the shuttle. Like I said, purely aesthetically, what a machine! Like it's gorgeous. It looks like a spacecraft should. It's got a little bit wings. It comes back and lands on a runway. You put it back on the stack. It flies again. Like I totally get that. But not taking into account things other than the aesthetics. I don't know. I don't know. We might have to settle on A tier. Can you abide by A tier?
Yeah, I can give it A tier. That's fine. But see, I mean, another thing to consider is the shuttle. Sawyer named off all the things that the shuttle did, right? Dude, I could do this forever. I could do this forever. Sawyer named off all that good stuff that the shuttle did. I don't know, fixing and maintaining satellites like Hubble and Solar Maximum, if you really want to go old school. I don't think we have anything that can do that right now. Also, building space stations. Pretty sure we don't have something that can do that. I'm just putting it out there.
I'm not
Till Starship.
I'm not disagreeing. But yeah, I guess we before we just do this for a whole entire hour, which maybe we can. I don't know. I feel like there's a thread we should pull here, but.
You do this all day, man.
Speaking of space stations, Starlab, space station company, has announced that they're going to fly on Starship. Who wants to wrangle this puppy here? This is pretty cool.
Sorry, you want this one?
I'll give this one to you, EJ.
Okay, so Starlab actually had a contract. They have a contract with SpaceX to launch an 8-meter space station module inside of Starship. Which, I mean, we said all that cool stuff about the shuttle, but this tells me that, Starship could quickly move into that market of being able to do everything that the shuttle did, but better. Also, 8-meter module means at least an 8-meter payload bay. That's pretty cool. And actually, I mean, just on a little more of a poignant thought here, Starship is already starting to get commercial contracts. One could make the case, I suppose, for, Starship there's no need for it, right? There's no need for it. 100 tons into low Earth orbit, fully reusable every time. Why would you need something like that? There's no use case for the market there. But, that's like kind of a devil's advocate thing. I think if you make a vehicle that can move 100 tons into space, low cost, full reusable, you're going to start to get contracts for it. And this shows that there are interested parties in Starship's capabilities, right? It's like, which one came first, chicken or the egg? Do you make a vehicle to service what the launch market needs, or do you make a vehicle that can do everything better than anything flying right now, right? And then the people will make payloads for that vehicle. It's which one? I mean, SpaceX seems to be going with the latter there, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, the lucky thing is,
and along those lines,
lucky. The smart thing is SpaceX has Starlink. Starlink is the engine that can power the Starship cadence until the industry catches up and builds payloads for the rocket. I mean, famously, even with Falcon Heavy, right? When Falcon Heavy came online, there was sort of a little bit of a lag there, but before commercial operators were able to take advantage of its lift capacity. Sawyer, I believe I cut you off. Go ahead, good buddy.
That's all right. While I was in the tube box. No, I was going to say it's kind of tying in what we were just talking about. Shuttle was a payload bay that was designed specifically for military specs. So it was basically, we want this, as opposed to SpaceX and this, where it's, hey, here's our whole capacity, design whatever the heck you want, and we'll lift it into space. I think that's kind of the new era in the whole private spaceflight thing, is that difference of we're going to mandate what your max payload is versus we're going to allow you to come up with whatever max payload you can design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Now, I have a question for chat, and I'm interested. This is for Twitch chat, and this is for the YouTube chat too. All right, so do you guys think that Starship, to deploy this style of module, is going to have like a chomper fairing, like what you've seen in the renders, or some other type of payload bay door? I mean, personally, I think it's going to have shuttle-style payload bay doors, right? I want doors that open up like this, not like this. Personally, I'm interested to see what kind of responses we're going to get from chat.
Yeah,
I see a lot of chompers in there.
Yeah.
A lot of pack
I'm hoping, I mean, you can hope shuttle payload bay style, but it's probably chopper.
I think that shuttle style doors would probably be better for integration when you're on the ground. How do you move that chomper fairing out of the way when you're going to put a payload in?
Like the C-130, maybe?
Yeah. Like it swings to the side or up and over?
Yeah.
I feel like whichever answer is right is going to end up being the one that takes up the least amount of internal volume. Like whatever the mechanism,
box, like have it slide open. That's cool.
it's like futuristic, and it's like crumples on itself, like it folds into itself. So there is no like it just the nose cone goes away somehow.
Yeah, maybe.
Or DeLorean doors. Totally impractical, but DeLorean doors.
Doors that open up like this, like this, not like this.
Yes, I'm on board. You've sold me. So yeah, we have a tweet here from SpaceX talking about having 3 boosters ready to go, plus a 4th one about to be ready to go. Pretty nifty. Speaking of demand,
That's a lot of boosters.
Yeah, like, do you think that we have enough demand so far in just testing and Starlink to fully achieve a rapid cadence with Starship? I mean, I certainly do.
I think that Starlink is more than enough of a justification here. With even the Starlink V2 minis that launch on Falcon 9, those, I think the profitability is from Starlink, not even from the launch vehicle. They're not making money off of Starlink missions, and I see a lot of people say that, and I think that's right, but they're not making money off the Starlink missions like in terms of launch services, but they're making money off of the missions from Starlink being a profitable venture. You know what I mean? And I don't see that market going away. And because Starlinks are in a decaying type of orbit where they constantly need to fire their thrusters to boost the satellites, you're looking at a constellation that does not have a 10 to 15 year shelf life like a geostationary satellite would, geostationary satellite network would. You're looking at a 5-year shelf life on these Starlink satellites. And if you're maintaining a 3,000 plus low Earth orbit constellation, you're constantly going to need to be launching stuff. So as long as Starlink stays profitable, there's always going to be a demand for this. And it's shown with Falcon 9 that it favors reusability. Absolutely. Right. So with full reuse, you're in Starship. Yeah, I don't think the market's going anywhere, Jack. I agree with you. I think they have plenty of uses to launch it.
And I think it also serves another purpose in this case, in that it's showing off what Starship can do. You know, obviously there's still some people that are like, oh, I don't know, it's still in early development. You see all the major media out there saying, oh, it blew up, it's a bad thing. Even though we all know it's part of testing and it's fine. But I think that's going to be their way of proving, like, look, here's the benefit of it. Launch it up, use our own payload first so that you can see that it works, And then once you see all of our Starlink missions happening successfully, and then being able to reuse it and fly it all again, I think that will then allow more people to feel more comfortable to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to fly my payload on Starship.
Yeah. I almost feel like, though, since you were in 2-box, like you should have been like butting heads a little bit. I don't know. We'll work on it. S tier, A tier, S tier, A tier.
Yes, always.
Let's see here. I'd rather be flying an X-wing. Thank you for the support. They say for the longer, like the stretched Starship, is it possible to add length above where the lift pins are mounted? That way the lower tower might still work without rebuilding it. Yeah, I think to a point that makes sense. Agree? Disagree? Sawyer, go first.
Hang on, let me just read the question again there.
Like, basically, in order to support a
Oh, yeah.
taller ship, a stretched ship, you just put the lifting points further down so that the ship can still be lifted by the current tower. That's how I'm reading this. Is that a...
I mean, yeah, I don't see why not. At this point, it doesn't seem like there's a need for it, but down the line, say if they want to do the Starship Heavy, which is obviously not like 3 of them strapped together, but slightly taller, maybe a little bit wider, then yeah, I don't see that being any issue.
EJ?
Yeah, I don't see that being a problem. The further those pins are down towards the top of the methane tank bulkhead, that's just going to make it stronger. I mean, the only time that would be a little weird is if those pins somehow end up like below Starship's center of gravity. Then it could get a little weird trying to lift that thing up, because then it becomes a balancing act and not just pulling something up. You're pushing something up at that point. But I think, yeah, you definitely could do that.
Yeah, I think basically, like you said, there's a limit in terms of how low they could go, but thankfully Raptors are heavy, so there's a good amount of there's a good amount of mass down there at the bottom, so your center of mass is hopefully relatively low. Good question though from I'd rather be flying an X-wing. Ground umbilical carrier plate. Thanks for the super chat. They say team most efficient nozzle for the job. Fair. Chris W, thanks for gifting a red team membership. I gotta say this right. Airbertach? If anyone wants to take a swing at this, be my guest.
I said Airbertach before, dude.
Airbertach.
Yeah,
let's
I
go.
think Airbertach.
Came in
Thank
with that
you,
gnarly freaking tip, right?
Yeah, holy cow. $100 super chat. They say hello, EJ,
Wow.
and welcome aboard. Thank you so much. That is extremely generous of you, and we appreciate it quite much. I can't even talk. You've broken my brain, Airbertach. We
I love
appreciate
when we
it quite
break
much.
Jack.
My brain, it's failing me. Also from Airbertach, they asked a question. How about instead of payload doors like shuttle, maybe a retractable, I hate this word, tonneau? Tonneau? I don't know how to say that
tonneau
word.
cover?
Yeah, maybe like a tonneau, that's what I was talking about. Like the nose cone like retracts into the barrel of the. It's absolutely not going to happen, but it's fun to think about.
What, like on Cybertruck, like the retractable tonneau? Yeah, I mean that would work. Yeah, like the bread box thing. Yeah, that I don't see why not. I mean, you have potentially 150 ton payload mass to low Earth orbit. I think you don't need to worry about like the kind of things that the shuttle did, needing to make the doors as light as possible. I'm pretty sure they have a little more flexibility in the type of door that they make, you know.
But hopefully not flexibility in the doors.
Yes, precisely.
That would be. I'm just trying to make Sawyer happy, okay? I'm just trying to make him proud of me with my puns. Yeah. Wait.
I'm always proud of you, Jack.
Oh God. But
By the way,
thank
Kevin,
you
do you have
again.
that first picture that you showed really quick? The one with the SpaceX logo with the boosters?
Jack, don't do that
Because
again. Okay.
Yes, definitely do that again. Or at least the
Oh,
thumbs up one
no.
with the little
work.
bubble
Chad,
thing.
I'm outnumbered. Help me.
There it is. Because it reminded me of like an album cover with the 4 or 5 boosters that are in there ready, waiting, like looking down at the camera, like there. Tell me that doesn't look like a sick album cover.
Kind of does.
And I want people to actually tweet at me and turn that into an album cover. Like screenshot it and see what you'd come up with.
What would be the band name? Like SpaceX and the Super Heavies, or like
No.
Steel Water?
Supersonic retro propulsion. I got you.
That's the album name. That's the album.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
What's the band? That would have to be like Water Towers and Flying. What? No, we'll workshop it. We'll work. Chat if you have any ideas.
How about It's Orange?
Hey, much like Jake.
Like my cat.
It's orange.
Which I like that though.
Does he have? Does Jake have the brain cell today, or is it with a different orange cat?
Oh no, he's got the brain cell.
Nice. That's rare. It's rare that any one orange cat has the shared orange cat brain cell. Maybe we should, like, I don't know, make Jake take a test or something. He's probably a very smart cat.
He's special, all right.
Aww.
Even though he's licking my armpit, he's special, all right.
I don't even know what you say to that. Bideford, gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you, Bideford. It's very sweet of you. All right, well, Starship, we talked about Starlab, Star everything. This is Star NSF Live. Why not? And it's Star Jake, Star EJ, and Sawyer.
Oh, that was good. Pun token awarded.
It's not good. Really quick before we move on from this, Kelly McCraith is asking, what's up with the DOD trying to take over Starship? That is not how I would phrase the news article blurb thing that came out over the last week, which was that the DoD is interested in operating and owning a starship or a fleet of starships rather than paying. Oh my gosh, we can hear Jake purring.
He's eating my microphone too, but yes, he is a very clingy cat, and yes, is very happy cat.
Oh,
Apologies.
we got full screen Jake.
Especially
Hooray.
when he gives his good side to the camera there.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, DoD wants to use Starship in an internal capacity. So if maybe it's a risky mission or a classified mission or national security hubba blub. It's not that the DoD is trying to like commandeer the entire Starship program. I don't know if I would phrase it that way. I don't know. Thoughts? Anybody?
They're looking to procure vehicles. So, I mean, SpaceX and Elon and Gwen have said that they want Starship to operate like a 747 that flies into space. Well, or I mean, if it has a cargo capacity, I would imagine they would procure it just like they'd procure a C5 or a C-17 or a C-130, right? And it's interesting to think about like procuring vehicles, rocket like that. I think that's super cool. And if I'm recalling correctly, the particular branch of the Department of Defense that's interested in Starship is U.S. Transportation Command or U.S. Transcom. So we are talking some kind of a capacity similar to like a C5 or something, or a C-17, if I'm understanding it right. Like, chat,
Yeah, I think you are.
Feel free to chime in. Yeah.
And I think it's really close to what a C5 can do, which is absolutely insane.
But to orbit,
but, I mean,
that means
right.
like you could put a tank, you put 2 tanks up there, which is like, huh?
Yeah,
okay.
2 Abrams anywhere in orbit, anywhere on the surface of the Earth in like what, 45, 50 minutes. Although then, good luck getting the Starship back, because that's the whole. It is. It's absolutely. But if you think, I mean, it seems like an obvious capability that the armed forces would want in whatever form it takes, even if it's just like, disaster response. Like, bam, here's 150 tons of water and medical supplies and whatever else is necessary. I mean, shelters.
The Navy and the Air Force don't just move guns around. They do move a lot of humanitarian supplies around, especially the USNS ships, the resupply and underway replenishment ships. And then of course there's the Navy's the hospital ships, the Comfort and the Mercy. They're not just moving, just move guns and bullets around. It is a lot of humanitarian relief. That often gets moved around by Airlift Command. So I mean, Yeah, it's not. I mean, we're talking about tanks here, Jack. But yeah, I agree. It's not just going to be tanks. It's going to be probably like water, most likely water and like potable water. That's important. You need that.
I mean, I can already hear Crispy just squealing anyway because the fact that it's point to point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm all here for Starship point to point. I back Crispy on this one wholeheartedly. Musical Wolves is asking if Sawyer had a chance to go to space. Oh, EJ, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Well, I was just saying, like, I mean, it wouldn't even be point to point. You could have, if you have like 100 tons of water, for instance, you could just leave that on orbit. Just leave it up there. And then when you need it, just boom, bring the ship right back down, you know? Yeah. Like you could stockpile it up there if you really want to, which would really help with, you know, depots and space stations and stuff like that. You know, we just have a strategic supply of water just sitting up there. But anyway, go on to the next question.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we get to a point where there are companies that handle delivery from orbit. Like, you know, we've got the little capsule pod that if you have a bunch of resources on orbit from mining an asteroid or just stashing there or whatever, you know, you can just throw your thing in a Amazon inflatable heat shield thing and it goes down to wherever on the surface of the Earth. Who knows what the future holds? Musical Wolves, thank you for the super chat. They are asking Sawyer, if you had a chance to go to space, would you take Jake with you?
No.
Oh.
No.
There would be way too much cat hair floating around the spacecraft.
Yeah, good call.
Okay,
everything, the entire
world.
inside would become orange.
Nothing wrong with that. Are you telling me there's something wrong with orange? How dare you say there's something wrong with orange?
I never said there's something wrong with orange. The mascot for my school where I graduated from college was the orange.
Is it literally an orange? That's the most Florida thing ever.
No, this was New York. This is Syracuse, New York. But yes, it was orange. We were the team is the Syracuse Orange, and their mascot is an orange named Otto the Orange.
Wow. Well, today
I have no problems with orange.
That's what I wanted. Why? Also, Crispy is saying I'm not wearing orange. I'm wearing orange. Okay, there's orange. Also orange. Come on, that's on brand. But yeah, why? Why the Otto the Orange?
Well, I mean, technically it's a representation of the color orange, but let's just say their previous name, which had the word men at the end of it, was kind of offensive to the people whose land they stole, so they became the orange.
Got it. Well, that makes sense. And
but
the nozzle...
so I am an orangeman.
All right, good. I'm glad we're all on the same page there. The Nozzle gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you so much to the Nozzle. EJ, are you a Venture Brothers fan? Are you a Venture Brothers guy?
Oh, did a long time ago. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's kind of an old show, but the Nozzle.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Next topic. Yay, more Starship. We had this one was all me. I saw an interesting tweet from Eric Ralph highlighting some comments made at an HLS brief involving the human landing system for Starship, and that the SpaceX has been testing a fully functioning life support. So the speculation is that that weird HLS nose cone, the Ship 22 nose cone repurposed into an HLS mock-up, may or may not have a fully functioning life support prototype installed on it. And I don't know. I saw this tweet come by. It was interesting. I thought, maybe we talk about it just because there's so many things that with SpaceX and especially Starbase that we see, right? Just like sitting there out in the open. But there's undoubtedly just so many things that we don't get to see that, happen behind closed doors, whether that's development on in situ resource utilization or, perfect example, work on the Polaris program, in-vehicle or extravehicular suits, the pressure suits that are, we haven't seen imagery of yet. Basically, all this is to say, SpaceX is working on lots of things, and it's just nice to have a data point that, yes, The human landing system is being actively worked on. There are prototypes, and maybe even this one that's been sitting in plain sight actually does have a life support system on it. I don't know. What do y'all think? Do you think we've been seeing this sit out in the open in plain sight this whole time?
Yeah, most likely. If Kevin, could you bring the that original tweet from Eric Ralph back up? I think I just want to get a clarification on the on what the tweet actually said, because they said a life support system, but it looks like it says a functioning life support mock-up, which means it's something that works, that can supply Starship with life support needs, but it's that suggests that it's nowhere near the fidelity that they're going to need like for flight, right?
Right.
Yeah. See,
right. Absolutely.
The functioning life support mock-up, which means they got something in there that works. Knowing SpaceX, if I had to guess, is pure speculation on my part. It's probably Dragon 2 derived. So it's just put something in there that works that you can use for life support for now, and then scale it to what you need to do. That seems kind of like SpaceX's modus operandi there. But I don't know. Does that mean Starship's life support system is all ready to go? Probably not. But life support systems are a long lead item when it comes to systems engineering. That's something that you need some time to make sure that it works correctly. I mean, you really don't want to mess that one up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and I think I would agree with your assessment that it's very likely, if not based on Dragon hardware, has Dragon hardware heritage, because it seems like a no-brainer. Just like scale up the thing that you have for Dragon to Starship size, and then start testing prototypes of it and see what works and what doesn't. And I don't know. Thought it was interesting. Sawyer, any thoughts?
Took the words right out of my mouth. It's got to be some legacy Dragon life support systems in there.
Yep.
Neat. All right. Well, we've come to the point in the show notes where I have a thing here that says Jack Ramble topic. I mean, we're talking about Starship, so we can just close it off with a ramble topic here, as if the topics so far have not been ramble topics. What is your favorite, most implausible Starship design configuration? Earlier we were talking about, the Starship extra heavy turbo, with the 3 boosters and none of this is going to happen. This is no longer news. We're just joking around here. But what Starship configuration that is the most implausible is your personal favorite? I'm going to go with side-mounted Starship a la the shuttle. That's probably my most favorite, most cursed Starship variant. EJ, we'll go to you first if you have any strong feelings.
So, side-mounted is good. I like the configuration with Starship on top, super heavy on the bottom, but Starship has the head, up, if you look at, we're going from the top to the bottom, you have your header tanks up at the front, and then maybe some type of crew flight deck thing, and then maybe a payload bay behind that. You know what I'm saying, with doors that open up like this. That would be the one that I like. Basically just space shuttle ship, Starship.
You mean put some Delta wings on there, maybe some.
No, you don't need to do that
gear.
Don't need to do. We could. If we were gonna party, we could do that. But no. Just that part. Just that part.
All right, cool deal. Sawyer, any thoughts on your favorite cursed Starship?
Yeah, why just try and remodel Starship itself for the actual crew compartment and the payload bay? Just stick a shuttle on top. Shuttle C, Starship C. I don't know. There, just get one of the shuttles out of retirement and stick it right on top.
I'm sold. You win. You win the ramble topic, Sawyer. Good job. You get 1 ramble point, for which you can redeem it for nothing. Cool.
Not a pun token?
No pun tokens.
That configuration reminds me of the early shuttle concepts where they were talking about putting the external tank on top of an S1C, like old school Saturn shuttle. Sawyer, it could wear it super heavy with the external tank and the shuttle on top. That's totally doable. I thought. Well,
that's what I was kind of picturing.
"Quote unquote" doable. It's not. It's probably never going to happen. But that's that. That you could do that. NASA thought about doing something like that. It's fine. We'll do it. It works in Kerbal, right? Like, come on now.
Or just
what you're
oversized
seeing-
Dream Chaser on top.
Yeah,
Sounds good to me, man.
Sold. Oversized X-37B. I mean, let's just have a party. Why not?
Yes.
But the video you're seeing on the left there is actually a video we did on Starship variants, actually plausible ones. So if you want to wet your whistle a little bit more than what we're doing here, feel free to check that out. I'm a little bit disappointed though. Nobody said Ship 26.
There's a reason.
Because it's not going to fly.
No one likes Ship 26. Right. Yeah,
Well,
no one
we're
likes
talking
it.
about we're talking about the most cursed Starship variants. I figured it was an easy dunk
Even
on
in the-
26.
That's even too much. That's even being too nice to it. To put
Okay,
it into
fair,
that
fair.
mix of. Yeah.
We have Kevin yelling in the background that Ship 26 is the best ship. Well,
If my
air,
internet
so
disappears or I go missing, then it's Kevin.
Okay, noted. But yeah, straw poll. Ship 26 bad. Aye? All four, raise your hand. Ship 26 bad? All right, it's been decided.
Best ship.
Thank you.
Ship 26
Thank
is
you.
the best ship.
Can they hear that? Are they able to hear that? I don't know if we can do that. It's just a tube. It's a tube with a cone and some stringers. Okay. Anyways.
Oh my!
has been-
Apparently that made air. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
That's
I can
Kevin.
hear that. Yeah.
Quality
Another
jokes.
over on my chat, Jack. They're saying put Hoppy on top of Super Heavy.
What did you just call it?
Hoppy.
Oh. You've just made Jack angry.
All right. He said the shuttle was A tier.
You said it was S tier. How could it possibly be S tier?
But you made me concede A tier, man. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Ding,
You have to
ding.
concede Hoppy now.
No, I will never concede Hoppy. I will always call Starhopper by its full name, Starhopper, or at worst, Hopper. I refuse to disrespect such a historic vehicle by calling it Hoppy. Who would do such a
Shuttle's
thing?
S tier.
No, these are two different things. These are two different things.
Absolutely not. This is the internet. We can compare anything to anything. Don't you know?
Wait, are they?
By the way,
moving
there's a
one of the
tower. There's a
sections
tower
behind
segment
you
moving
right now?
behind you.
Yeah, that's a live view of Kennedy Space Center, and looks like some more tower segments are getting ready to get shipped over to Starbase.
Yeah,
This is live.
I'm here live. I'm live here at the Kennedy Space Center press site, and we are currently. Oh, you took me off the screen. Okay.
I was still enjoying it.
that's tower segments are cool. Yeah. Hi. I don't really have too much to say right. What's that?
Yeah, look over there. Oh, good deal.
Wow, that tower
so
segment
yeah,
looks a lot like a chair.
It does look like a chair. It's like almost like an office chair, like maybe from IKEA. Oh my god, it's a ghost chair. All right. Anyways, no love for ghost chair. Okay. Okay. So
No, I give
we
it
have
some love.
established DJ is wrong about Hoppy, and that the shuttle is A tier. And yeah, let's keep on rolling. I mean, does anyone? Let's keep rolling. You guys want to talk
At
about?
least he didn't say. At least he didn't say Percy or Ingy.
Okay. I kind of like Ingy. I kind of like Ingy.
I'm sorry, what?
I never said I was consistent, okay? I just have strongly held opinions and yell until everybody agrees with me. I never said I was consistent.
See, that's why you write at home on the internet, man. It's perfect.
It's
place where
Ingenuity.
people-
I've heard Ingy, Ginny. No, Ingenuity.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you this, Sawyer. Ingenuity. I will abide. Much like the dude, I can abide.
Especially after we say farewell to it.
Yeah, I guess at this point we should probably Talk about good old Ingenuity. It did.
Yeah,
But
it seems like it had
Yeah.
some fatigue on the blades. I mean,
But-
what is it, 72 flights? Like,
yeah,
that kind of,
yeah. It was only
I think it was supposed to be
fly for
5.
5 exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll take 72, even with JPL's like classic under promise over deliver that they love to do with their planetary probes and whatnot. Even with that, like factored in, still amazing amount of flights out of that vehicle, an amazing amount of data gained, but it's not over in terms of more data, more better. They're going to do a little wiggle of the rotors, and they're going to spin them up to sort of try and assess how much damage they've taken. So they're not going to fly with it anymore, but I saw this and figured I'd throw it in the old show notes here so we could give Ingenuity some love. And Scott Manley is surely happy because for like at least a week after the announcement of the rotor blade damage, he was tweeting various comments about how they could treat it like an off-center washing machine and fly it this way, or spin the rotors and gather some data on the dust it kicks up, or any kind of use that they could pull out of it. And sure enough, here we are. They're going to spin and wiggle the rotors and gather some more data that will result in more, I guess, successful operations of flying vehicles off world, which is awesome because being limited to traveling over the ground is kind of I guess limiting. I'm just saying the same words over and over again. Somebody else talk. This is good. This is important, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this
yeah,
is-
man. I mean, go ahead, Sawyer. Do it up.
No, I was going to say, I mean, this is absolutely huge. The science that we're talking about here, this is the first time that we've had powered flight on another planet. I mean, we've all seen it in our Kerbal builds where, you know, you've got a plane that can fly over the surface of another planet, but that's Kerbal. There's the washing machine. Sorry, got a little distracted by that. But yeah, the science that you're getting from it, you're now coming up with a concept that as we progress further, we can study much larger parts of the red planet. I mean, you could have a rover somewhere and then eventually come up with a flying machine that, as you evolve, will be able to fly miles and miles away, or kilometers and kilometers away, and get more data about the surface of different locations, especially if you add more scientific instruments to it. And then, of course, once we start colonizing and get people there, we already now have proof that, hey, we can create like helicopters on Mars that can move people between bases or science targets. So I just think that this is only the beginning, and the science that it's given so far is groundbreaking. I guess in more ways than one, because you'd be flying in the air instead of the ground.
Or is
Air
it blade
breaking?
breaking?
Oh no, you made me sad. but no, for real, it's cool. I guess my thought was that it's cool to see, even though its flight campaign is over. I mean, the hardware is still there. It's still on the surface of Mars, and we'll wring just a little bit more science out of it. Even though it's not, it's not going to fly again. But wait, you guys are you both Android people, users?
No.
Yeah.
You're an iPhone person, EJ?
Why are you going to make me admit that on the internet, man? Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just curious because another thing that was mentioned, or that I saw mentioned this week in regards to Ingenuity, is the fact that it had a Snapdragon processor in there, which is just basically a mobile phone processor. Not some kind of crazy radiation hardened insanity that is heavy as a brick and costs insane amounts. Like, that's one of the really cool things I think about Ingenuity as well, is the fact that a lot of it was commercial off the shelf hardware with all of the benefits that comes with that. So I don't know. Ingenuity. Well, thank you for your science.
I mean, I think one of Ingenuity's best things that it did was when it was working, is going and seeing the back shell. That, I mean, we're seeing footage of the rover and the sky crane landing over there, but that was attached to a back shell after it jettisoned the heat shield, and they went and found the aeroshell, and they went and looked at it, which is super cool. I've never seen something like that. You always wonder what happens to this other equipment, after it separates the rover. What happens to the heat shield? Where does that end up? But now, Ingenuity was able to get us those pictures, which is really freaking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I can only imagine the amount of data that can be gleaned from something like that in terms of how did the hardware hold up, where perhaps might need more, structural reinforcement. Where do we have plenty of margin and can make things lighter? All sorts of things of that nature, I'm sure, are what you can learn from being able to go inspect a piece of hardware like that, which we haven't, as you said, been able to do before. Pretty nifty. Are you? That's right. You're looking at a green screen, right? Like you can't actually see the tower
I can
segments.
see the tower segments right there, dude. It's awesome.
Oh, that's right. No, sorry. You're at KSC. You're at KSC right now. I forgot. Sorry.
It's amazing. Like, you blurred me out. No, come back. I swear it's not a green screen.
Oh, good deal.
I'm just waiting for the background to randomly change now.
Yeah, right. It's just like clowns all of a sudden. Don't do that. Nobody do that, please. EJ or Kevin or Jay or nobody. Anyways, I don't know. What do we talk about next? We got a couple more things on the list here. Who's got the list up? I feel like I've been calling the shots. Does someone really feel like chatting about something as we have 13, 14 minutes or so to go here? What are you hankering for? I'm not gonna.
Dude, I saw a question or a chat, a thing that went through chat about Falcon 9 with Falcon Heavy extended fairings or something. Did that show up? Can we answer that question? That was a good question, I think. Is that popping through? Like it was a little bit ago.
I'm looking for it. You might need to vamp while I look for it. Was it NASA? Like, did they at NASASpaceflight, or was it just raw chat?
No, it was.
Also,
I don't know if it was a super chat or something. I'm still getting used to what to look for on YouTube.
Right.
Do extended fairing Falcon 9 with a stubby nozzle? Oh, if that was never mind.
No way.
Yep, never mind. Never mind. We'll just forget that question was ever asked.
Just chat. Just push the tiny button behind your ear that deletes the last 45 seconds, and we'll be good to go.
I know. I know something that'll turn this whole conversation upside down. And that's if we talk about Slim.
Hey!
Come on, man.
I love you, Sawyer. You're the best. You're the greatest of all time. Slim live. Go for it, buddy. I'm handing the reins over to you while I sip my bubbly water and then mute so you can't hear me burp.
Honesty, I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, for those who are unaware, JAXA's Slim lander landed with a soft touchdown on the moon. However, we later found out, thanks to the rover it deployed from an image, that it landed upside down. Now, they had basically zero power to the vehicle, but they were hoping that when the sun moved a little more westerly, which is where the solar panels were facing, that they could actually get some power and start running science. And sure enough, just the other day, they announced that it's alive. Slim is alive. It got power back and is now running a whole bunch of science operations on the moon. Upside down, but running them.
You love to see
It's
it.
crazy. I mean, even the LEV 1 and 2, the thing that the secondary rovers that deployed, I'd like to point out that those are toys. Those are straight up toys.
Made by toy companies. Yeah,
made by a toy company.
Yep.
Like, you could buy that. You can buy LEV 1 and 2. It is a toy that they were just like, oh, this would make a good moon rover. And they attached it to the side of a lander, and it went, which is pretty awesome.
And the pictures that we're seeing of the lander landed on its head were taken by these little rovery things that are basically toys. I think one of them was made by the company that made the Transformers toys, if I'm not mistaken. Like, how great is that? I mean, it's just amazing. It makes me happy.
It's great
and, like,
until.
until.
I was gonna say it's great until they start actually transforming and trying to take over the moon. But yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my God, we've seeded the moon with Decepticons. I don't know anything
am
about
Optimus Prime, leader of the
thank you.
Autobots. Sorry,
Excellent.
I had something in my
No,
throat.
you're good. Yeah, it sounded like you had a cough or something, but I think it's cleared
Yeah,
up.
no, here, let me take a drink of water. Oh, much better.
Here's a question from I don't even know how to say this name, but they're asking, couldn't they fire one engine on Slim and try to tip it upright? EJ,
Well,
as a purveyor of Kerbal and Kerbal-like things and a generally smart person, how do you feel about this question?
well, the engine. So Slim uses differential thrust for control. All right, it's not like you have a vectored thrust engine here. If we bring up the landing footage, Kevin, can you throw that landing footage up here? The ones with all the gauges that are changing all different colors and stuff. So all the engines are basically pointed in one direction. They're pointed on the long axis of the vehicle, and what Slim used is differential thrust to go and to come down and land. So if you look at the rates that are over here, you see all those engines. You know, you got 3 gauges on the top, the left, the bottom, and the right. Those are the 3 engines. They're all facing down, and then there's the percentage indicators here that's in the middle of the screen that say OME PX and OME MX are those are like your main engines, right? All of them are facing in one direction, and Slim is basically nosedived into the ground right now. So firing those engines, you might be able to get something out of it to some type of rotational rate, but it would be like if you had like an airplane and it was nosed into the ground. Firing the engines probably isn't going to do much. I'd also like to add that I think it was the OME PX engine is destroyed. It wrecked itself during landing here. If you back up, I think it was 15:23:39 on the clock on the video. You could see that the orbiter maneuvering engines exceed 450% duty cycle, and this breaks things. It got to go back a little bit more. It blew a nozzle off, most likely because it overheated. They overheated the engines. RCS on spacecraft that are moving around in space tend to modulate thrust, so it's kind of clicking on and off. Like, if you've watched like Dragon fly around in space or seen any videos from SpaceX, you can hear the RCS firing. There's footage of that somewhere out there, and
It's like pulses. It's like bump, bump, bump,
Yep.
bump, bump.
Mhm.
Like it's not like a
Yep.
shh. I don't know. That's the best way I can think to describe it. Is
Yeah,
everything
they
dumps.
modulate it to make sure that they don't overheat the engines. If you fire the engine too much and exceed the duty cycle, which you could theoretically do with hypergolic because it's just pressure fed, you could flux way too much heat into the nozzle and melt it. A similar scenario to what may have happened here is, I don't know if you guys, and we probably don't have the footage for this, but Omega, when Northrop Grumman tested the now defunct Omega rocket booster, they were getting plume over expansion, and that created flow separation in the nozzle in the test stand and blew the nozzle up. Something similar to that, but for different reasons.
I'm still kind of bummed Omega did not
Yeah, me too,
pan
man.
out. Giant solid. What could go wrong?
I think it's a great idea, personally.
So
and
I mean,
that person.
if Ares 1 did it, then no. The fact that Ares 1 did it, forget it. No, it's bad.
Oh, I love Ares 1. Come on.
No. You're part of the Ares 1 fan club?
Dude, hail stick, man. Absolutely. What a great rocket.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm a recent convert, but I'm a pretty huge fan of Ares 1. It just looks so Kerbal. How could you not like it? Sawyer looks like we've just slapped him directly in the mouth. Are you okay, Sawyer?
No, I'm not. I didn't realize I was among Ares huggers here.
There are dozens of us.
Right.
Dozens of us.
Kevin, you got
You
this thing.
started
you got this thing up here?
riots.
Hold on. Let me take a look.
Oh goodness.
It's 15. Yeah, 15:23:39. That was it. Sorry, I was trying to remember the time off the top of my head. But watch. See, it says 00% in the center of the screen down the bottom. The engines get very unhappy here. If you play that footage there.
Yeah, generally you want to keep your engines happy. I think is a good like best practice kind of thing.
Yep. Let's see. Is it gonna play?
And props to JAXA for having legit
Yeah,
telemetry.
no.
Like it's not just
In
like
the back channel. It's a little bit further back. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Yep. And yeah, dude, not every company is going to show you the rates of the vehicle. So where that kind of WY, WZ, and WX are, and then your IMU measurement, like nobody does that.
Right.
But it's cool because if you know what to look for here, you can see what the vehicle's doing. Like once again,
Right.
we could basically pinpoint the exact spot where the engine decided to not engine anymore. Yeah.
You generally want your engines to engine
Yeah.
up to a point.
Yep.
Up to a point.
Mm-hmm.
Are we able to? Are we at the right point where we're able to see it?
It's about 50 meters off the deck for the folks in the back channel. At 50 meters, right around there. So if you could use that to correlate the time. I forget what the time step was. I thought I remembered it, but I did not remember it at all.
I believe
That's what
you
happens to
remembered it.
members of the Ares 1 fan club.
Oh, fuff. Stuff and
Fuff.
nonsense.
Dude, I love Ares 1. How do you not like Ares 1?
Yeah, how do you not like Ares 1? What's wrong with Ares 1? It's beautiful. It's hilarious. It's Kerbal.
It's amazing.
Hydrolock's upper stage.
It'd be cool in Kerbal, but in real life, it makes no sense to have a single stick 5-segment SRB, and then the top. It looks ugly as all get up. It obviously had issues with separation, which I'm sure they would have worked out, but still, it's just that's what we were going to be launching Crew on for the future.
Yeah, it's
like
fine.
okay, we go from
It looked like
we
you
go from
stuck
the
a corn
Saturn
dog on
V.
top of an SRB. Like, how could you go wrong with that? Corn dog rocket.
Okay, so we go from the Saturn V to the space shuttle to a stick.
I'm like, okay, that's fair. That's fair, but you're also
Yeah.
deliberately excluding Ares 5.
Let's see.
Hey, this is just the Ares 1 fan club. I didn't say I dislike all of Ares. Constellation had its potential.
Oh, EJ, lay your
Yeah.
knowledge on us.
Yeah, no, sorry, I agree. Ares 1 is a great dev vehicle for Ares 5, but that frame popped up. It popped up over there. If you look down there at the duty cycle on those motors, they go to 450%. It's not ideal. Yeah, it's right around 50 meters, which we know from the JAXA press conference. That's where they said something went wrong. See, 440 right there. And in case anybody's wondering if you've heard like your favorite spaceflight company go through a go no go poll, what the red line monitor does, there's your answer. That's what the red line monitor does. Make sure that nothing red shows up on the screen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly where that motor decided to motor int. You know what I mean?
Engine. I don't even know. I can't even say it. I love it. Well, I don't love that it broke, but I'm glad Slim still lives and they were able to get some power when the sun angle was in the right position. I think now it's heading into lunar night, if I'm not mistaken, which lasts like 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's in standby from the last update from the Slim account, Slim social media account, but they're gonna try to turn it back on when the daytime comes back.
Yep. All right. Well,
But,
hopefully it
uh,
comes back yet again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, for people that don't know telemetry too hard, or like like, oh, we got to check the data. This is usually what you're checking here for like flight data. This is for like guidance, navigation, and control. This is what a GNC person would be seeing here. So the three green bars that are up kind of towards the top, like WY, WZ, and WX, are your rotation. That's your rotation rate. It's in degrees a second radian. And for people that don't understand what the heck that means, if the green bar goes to one side or another, or on the WZ, which is roll, it goes left or right, or on the WX, it goes up or down, that's the way it's rotating. It's the way the ship is rotating through space, right? And then if you look at the bottom left-hand corner down there, you have the IMU, which is an inertial measurement unit. That is in no particular direction. It is basically, I don't know, it's an accelerometer, but you don't call it accelerometer. It's an IMU. That's basically showing you the translation movement. So like if it's moving up, down, left, or right, or if it's falling down towards the ground, that'll show you where it's translating. You can look at these and you can just figure out what the vehicle's doing. After 50 meters, after the PX and the MX engines, decided they wanted to enter the shadow realm, you see the vehicle, because one of them brakes, it kind of turns a little bit and then it comes down and lands. It compensated for the differential thrust, which is actually super impressive guidance, navigation, and control. But that's just a little bit on what all that stuff means. It's cool. You can tell exactly what the vehicle's doing. Heck, you can even see on your WYZ and X axes over there, you could see right when the thing hits the ground and starts to roll over nose and into the dirt.
So neat. You loved it.
Yeah,
I mean, I loved
super
to see this level of information shared with the public.
Yes, big shout out to JAXA on that.
Yeah, it's really cool when a company shows this information. I mean, we've seen stuff like this with like Cygnus in the past. In Northrop Grumman, they do show, sometimes they show stuff like this. They used to on their old cast, but if you ever wondered, like, when ULA launches and they have a commentator providing launch vehicle ascent data, when that's what they mean when they say, oh, the rates look good, body roll rates look good. That's exactly what they're looking at. Same kind of stuff, but obviously not on a lunar lander.
All right. You know what? I think I'm just going to steal Doss's joke here. he said, we haven't seen GNC this good since Astra went out the gate.
My guy, dude.
It's too good. It's too
Nice.
good. I take zero credit.
Nice.
That was all Doss.
Dude, that was awesome. It was awesome.
Your reaction to it too is like one of my favorite things ever. Like that was amazing. Because we were stream partners for that, and you have certain boundaries you play within, and you were just unchained and allowed to be as enthusiastic as all of us watching were. Just like, it's going, go!
I couldn't believe it, dude. I couldn't believe it, man. I was shocked, genuinely.
If y'all have not seen that, is that like pinned or something? I don't know how Twitch works. Is that easily findable? Is it clipped?
It's probably around, dude. Spoiler: it contains some minor obscenities. If you're family friendly, you might not want to watch that clip.
Yeah, good to know. Thank you for the warning there. Speaking of warning, this is your warning. Is there anything else we want to hit? Is there something you have an itch on your back you want to scratch? Like, what do you get your last thoughts in? I think we're gonna start to wrap her up here, but I know we have a couple more things on the dock. If there's something you're really hankering to talk about this week. I
just
be my
scratched.
guest. I'm opening the floodgates. Thank you, Sawyer.
Relativity recently posted some pictures that they're retooling LC-16 from Terran 1 to Terran R, which is actually cool. I don't know about you guys. It makes me pretty dang happy to see Missile Row with so many active launch pads. That's really cool. because those pads have sat and done nothing for a really long time, which I think is really neat. Also, and once again, back end guys, you guys probably aren't gonna like have this news teed up because this is just brand new news. So it was via space and
I'm doing the breaking
What?
news sound. Go ahead.
There was a
The birds-
memorandum of understanding of two other companies that, believe it or not, are going to partner and use Launch Complex 13, which is actually really, really interesting because Launch Complex 13 is where SpaceX's landing pads are. That's
Nice.
weird. So
gonna-
SpaceX is rescinding their landing pads at the Cape, which is weird.
I mean, surely they can find another place to slap 2 landing pads, right? I would hope so.
I have my theories
Sorry for calling
about
you
that.
Shirley.
No, sorry. I have my theories
By the way,
about
the birds
that.
were
but,
very intrigued by your comment behind you.
Burbs.
There's only about, 200 of them? And Falcon.
Hey,
Oh, sick. Yo. Oh, this is great. Look at that. Look at that. See that
that
booster over there? That's sweet.
did you run over from? Oh, okay. We have the pointing meme down. Perfect. Did you leave you left the press site and you drove over to Space Live, right?
Yeah, it's like a 10-minute drive, right? That's not far away.
Oh yeah, totally doable. Nice.
Wicked. That's excellent.
I'd
no,
like to
he's gone.
Ghost EJ. I'm not. Are we sure EJ is not a ghost? I'm not. Ah!
All right.
I'm out. I've known him for a decade, and I'm not sure.
Nice. All right. Well, we've got Ghost EJ. We've got me with no hair. We've got Jake accosting Sawyer. I think.
I'm sure he can lend you some hair.
Yeah. Thanks. I need it. Clearly, it's all shiny up there.
No comment. I'm wearing a hat for a reason. Man.
Hat gang. All right. Cool. I think that's about it. I do want to thank Max E for the super chat. They say, imagine for a second F9 with Falcon Heavy's extended fairing, no landing legs, or grid fins with a stubby nozzle. Ramble on this, Jack. We already it's bad. We don't like it. It's bad. Stubby nozzle, bad. Brian Green, but thank you for the support. Brian Green, asking people to hit the like button with a $2 super. Thank you for that. Gateway to Mars spelled backwards says read it backwards, Jack. So thank you for the explainer. And they also say just roll it over to provide more usefulness. I think they're talking about Slim there. Thank you for the support. If only they could roll it over somehow, like put really strong, like when you're in Kerbal and you put like really strong gyros on it, so you can just like tumble around the surface of Minimus or something. Is that just me? Okay.
Did you just say Minimus?
Sure. Why not? I don't know. I haven't played Kerbal in a hot minute. That's the one with like barely any gravity, right?
It's Minimus.
Minimus?
Minimus? Oh my god.
By the way, I just want to say, I did see online, I want to give a huge shout out to whoever it was online that used the picture that the rover took of Slim and recreated the start screen to KSP with it. It already has the upside down capsule, so moon or bust.
I think with the Oscar outro music that we're getting now, I think that's our cue.
You're telling us to wrap it up?
Right. Thank you so much to our launch directors and our flight engineers. You are all the bedrock with which NSF is built. Our members are awesome, and especially so our launch directors and flight engineers. Thank you so much to all of you. If you become a launch director or a flight engineer, you get your name at the end of NASA Spaceflight live episodes. But thank you to all of our members. Thank you to everyone coming out, hitting the like button, doing the support, however it is. It doesn't have to be monetary. We appreciate you. Of course, let us know. This is a new week, a new format, a new time slot. We expect feedback. We appreciate feedback. I thought it was pretty good. You guys think it was pretty good?
I think we need more time. Just saying. I do not accept the outro music. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, maybe maybe
more
we
shuttle, more better.
Yep,
we could.
agreed.
I do still really want to argue about the shuttle being in S tier, but maybe we can make that a recurring.
Yeah, we
segment
didn't
or
get.
something.
We
S
didn't
tier.
get to have a ding ding moment. Yeah.
Well, well, you can't have it all, Sawyer. All right. I think with that, Sawyer, thanks for being on NSF Live this week, trying out the new format.
My absolute pleasure. Hey, it's fun to try something new out, and to see how it evolves from this first episode of the revamp. I'm really excited, and as you can see, Jake is enthralled as well.
He does look
That's all that
enthralled.
matters.
Yeah, I do think this is just the first one of these that we're doing, so we'll see where it goes from here. EJ, thanks, buddy.
Hi.
Always good.
Yeah,
Always good seeing
thanks
your
for
face
having me.
and chatting.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thanks everybody for watching. I do appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for having me. And I'd like to thank the shuttle, the S tier launch vehicle. No, I will not be taking questions on this.
In the background, we had Kevin Michael Reed. You can see his info there in the top right. Thank you, Kevin, for running the stream. I always like to say, running in the giant human-sized hamster wheel that makes things go. We couldn't do it without you, buddy. So thanks. And I also believe we had Jay Keegan in the background operating some stuff as well. So, yeah. Feedback. Viewers, give feedback and comment. Do YouTube things. Hit bell. Do subscribe. Do.
Oh, can I say it? I don't actually get to do it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell. Oh, dude, I can't do that on my end. We don't do that over on Twitch. But now you can say, oh man, that was weird. I don't want to do this anymore. All right, cool. Back to you, Jack.
How'd that feel?
It's over.
That felt
Just kill
awful.
it.
Yeah, I
Just
didn't
kill
like
it.
that at all.
It does. It feels awful every time, doesn't it? Kill it. Can we end?
Yeah, yeah.
Hit
No.
the end button. Make
Yeah.
it stop.
All right, sign us out.
Please.
We're good.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
Our 68 chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, Atlantic.
Bottom towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Fighting downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. It's orange! Orange 45! Oh my god! Oh my god! Decollage! What is it? Put that in the big bag, Signal.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?